How can I possibly choose? Ah! Hey, but dragons, I know you're all super excited to see what my top 10 book series are. We'll get right to it in a few minutes, but please make sure to like, subscribe, join my Discord, join my Patreon if you want to support me there too. That would be awesome. Let's get right to this top 10 list. Now, I want to start off with two honorable mentions. The first of those is the Dune saga. I've said many times that Dune is my favorite sci-fi book of all time. And that is still the case. It still remains my number one. Other than that, I have only read Dune Messiah. So while I would like to be able to say that Dune is in my top 10 series of all time, I don't feel like I can honestly say that until I've read more of the series. So there are other series on this list that are not completely finished or that I have not fully read the entire series, but I've read enough of them to know for sure they are in my top 10 list. And right now, I unfortunately can't say that about Dune, but my theory is that it will be in my top 10 eventually. It will probably displace one of these others on the list. So that's an honorable mention right now. The other honorable mention is the Dark Tower series by Stephen King. It just barely missed the cut on this top 10 list. If I was to do a top 15 list, it would be there. But, top 10 lists are more catchy. They draw more attention. Yeah, I'm kind of playing to the algorithm there, I know. But I will let you know, I absolutely love the Dark Tower. It just barely didn't make the top 10 list. So that's all I've got for honorable mentions. Let's get right to my top 10 list. And we're going to start at number 10 with Harry Potter. I am a certified Potterhead. I love Harry Potter. I love the movies. I love the books. I even love the Fantastic Beasts movies. I love pretty much anything that is even remotely associated with Hogwarts, with the exception of Hogwarts Legacy. I have not played that. I guess that dequalifies me as a Potterhead because I haven't played Hogwarts Legacy. But, I love Harry Potter. And I realize that nowadays that's problematic to say because of the personal views of J.K. Rowling. But I separate the art from the artist, and I will always love Harry Potter. I will always be down to do a reread of Harry Potter at some point. In fact, who knows, I might do that in the next year or two because I really would like to reread the series. So that is my number 10. My number 9, and some people are going to shoot me for this. Chaz, how could you possibly put it at number 9? Well, I did. And that is The World of Middle-earth by J.R.R. Tolkien. Now, I have not only read The Lord of the Rings, but I have also read The Silmarillion, I read Children of Hurin, I read The Hobbit. I have some other books in the Legendarium that I have not read yet, but rest assured I will get to them one day. And I really love this series. It is just a fascinating series. It will always be one of my favorites, but it's just not high up on the list. It comes in at number 9. So those of you who are diehard Tolkien fans that I've just broken your hearts, please forgive me, but I'm not changing it. At least not right now. Who knows? In the future, maybe. All right, let's go to number 8. And that is The Deathgate Cycle by Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman. This series is just a brilliant series. Now, I have not read Dragonlance. I've only read The Deathgate Cycle by Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman so far, but this series is just such an amazing series. It's got really unique world building. It's got a great magic system. It's got so much going for it, and I just can't recommend it enough. I know it's a long series. It's a 7-book series, but all the books are only like 400 to 500 pages each, some of them less than that. So it's an easy series to blow through once you get into it. I love it to pieces. So yeah, that comes in at number 8. Number 7 is the Robert Langdon series by Dan Brown. Dan Brown is one of my favorite authors as well. And this is a 5-book series so far. I'm sure there are going to be more Robert Langdon books. But the most popular that you have probably heard of, pop culture wise, is the Da Vinci Code. That's the one that got all the controversy and all the hype and everything like that. And it's a fantastic book. But the other books in this series are absolutely phenomenal. So I just love every single book that I've read of his so far in that series. And I do hope to be a Dan Brown completionist at some point, so I've got to read his other books that are not in that series, but this is a top favorite of mine, so that comes in at number 7. The next book series, coming in at number 6 on the list, is the Millennium Trilogy by Stieg Larsson. Now, it's not just a trilogy, it was continued post-mortem by a different author, but I have not read any of those books. I've only read the original trilogy that was authored by Stieg Larsson, and it is a fantastic thrill ride. It's an international thriller following the iconic character of Lisbeth Salander, and there's other great characters as well, but the series really is a character study on Lisbeth Salander, and it's fantastic. Originally written in Swedish, and it was translated to English as well. That's how I read it. And they're such good books, guys. You need to read this series if you have not. If you like mystery thrillers that really pack a punch and keep you on the edge of your seat, hit you with all kinds of twists and turns, this is the series for you. It's really, really good. Coming in at number 5, we've got the Shannara Chronicles by Terry Brooks. And this is easily 25, 30 books in this series. The nice thing about Shannara is you can read it in chunks. Each part of the series is divided up into like a trilogy or a quartet, so you can get a fully complete story in little chunks without having to read the entire series. Now, of course, if you read the entire series, you're going to see Easter eggs pop up from the older books and things like that. So it's just a phenomenal series. I have not read the entire series yet, but I have read enough that I know it is one of my top 10 favorites, and I think it will be for a long time to come, if not forever. You know, because I'm not getting any younger. One of these days I'm going to kick the bucket, and it may still be on that list at that point. But let's hope that's not going to happen for a while, right? Shannara is a classic fantasy series. Terry Brooks is a phenomenal writer. He writes really impactful characters. The world building is really amazing as well. And I really think there is no way that it's going to drop off my top 10 list ever. You never know. Something may blow me away and knock it off. But for right now, it's my number 5. My number 4 pick on this list is the Kingkiller Chronicles by Patrick Rothfuss. Now, I know he is one of the authors that is well known for taking forever to release a book. I get it. I do. I still love you, Pat. Please give us the next book. But until you do, I still love you. I really do. This is an absolutely fantastic series, starting off in the first person from a character named Coat, working in an inn, trying to keep himself on the down low and telling his story to a chronicler that happens to stop into his inn. And it's just a fantastic ride. There are currently 2 books in the series, The Name of the Wind and The Wise Man's Fear. There's some short stories that you can find in certain collections as well. And there is also a novella that he wrote called The Slow Regard of Silent Things, which I personally think is brilliant. I think it's my favorite book in the series. You know, that could change. It's excellent, guys. The prose is top notch. The character development and world building is really expansive. I think it's a great series. It is my number 4. Coming in at number 3, And you might be surprised by this for people who are mega fans of this series, of which I account myself as one. Number 3 is The Dresden Files by Jim Butcher. Guys, this is just such a wild ride. Every single book in the Dresden Files is a winner for me. Some are better than others, of course, but the series as a whole is just such a banger for me. It really is. So it's my number 3. Harry Dresden is just a phenomenal character. I love watching his character growth throughout the series. The inclusion of all the different side characters that pop up in Harry's life. It is just so much fun. If you haven't read the Dresden Files, you're really missing out. I know some people don't like it, and that's fine. That leaves more for us who do. The next book is maybe going to come out next year. Who knows? Maybe, or maybe close to the end of the year next year. Who knows? But I'm really excited for whenever it comes. That's my number 3. My number 2 on this list is The Sandman by Neil Gaiman. This is the series that put Neil Gaiman on the map. It's what made him really popular, and with good reason. This is a graphic novel series. The initial run comprises 11 or 12 volumes, and then there's an offshoot series as well that he kind of spearheads, but is written by other authors and continues in the Sandman universe. And then, of course, it also includes characters like Lucifer and the books of magic, John Constantine, and it just keeps going. And there's so many great themes that are explored in these graphic novels. The artwork is amazing. The dialogue on page is just really well done. And there's a lot of great representation for minority groups that you wouldn't necessarily expect to see in a series as old as The Sandman is. It was created back in the 90s, and so Neil Gaiman was really ahead of the game in that respect. And I just love everything about The Sandman. I just can't quit gushing about it. I hope you guys pick it up. I think you would really be doing yourself a favor. And now, my number 1 pick, my favorite fantasy series of all time. Are you guys ready? I'm going to do a knee roll here, a knee drum roll. Are you ready? Okay, here it is. A Song of Ice and Fire by George R.R. Martin. Did you call it? Let me know if you called it in the comments below. I would love to know. I love everything about this series, guys. Not only just the core 5 books, because they are absolutely brilliant, but the other books in the series as well, like The Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, the Hedge Knight series, Fire and Blood. I'm halfway through that, or maybe 3/4 of the way through that, and absolutely loving every minute of it. I just can't get enough of the world of A Song of Ice and Fire. I am constantly watching lore videos, and eventually I want to do a reread of the series, but I'm trying to wait until The Winds of Winter is out, maybe, if we get an announcement. George, are you out there? Are you going to give us an announcement, please? I want to reread your books, but I'm trying to wait until I can get the whole cohesive story with Winds of Winter. But eventually I may just decide, you know what, I'm just going to reread it anyway, because I absolutely love the series. The character development is the best I have ever seen from any author, bar none. And that's saying a lot, because I love character development by a lot of authors. But George R.R. Martin does it in such a way that it just immerses you into the characters' lives, makes you feel like you're there with them, makes you feel for them and their struggles and their pains and their deaths. Yes, lots of deaths in this series, and I'm there for it, guys. The world building for Westeros is massive. It is just such a grand epic scale that I just can't get enough of it. And it has dragons. Some of my favorite dragons in all of fantasy literature. I mean, come on. Dragons. You know I love dragons. So, okay, I've got to stop gushing. I need to end my top 10 list, or I could go on and on about A Song of Ice and Fire, and you might just get me repeating myself about other books in this list. So, let me know in the comments what you thought of this video. What do you think of my top 10? And let me know what some of yours are. What would you say is your top 10 favorite series? And until next time, guys, make sure you're reading more books. I'll talk with you soon.